Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today, we get to learn why it's never a good idea to give a Karen a bullhorn.
Then they're going to put you on a respirator. So they put you into induced coma. What do you think happens when you're put in induced coma?
Poor building. So let's begin. I really hate having to do this, but due to YouTube's terms of service guidelines, I must say that this video is in complete accordance with the WHO and CDC regarding mask and vaccine guidelines. Consult a medical professional for any concerns you may have regarding COVID-19 treatment and prevention.
I'm going back to this place because they're still perpetuating their lie here. This is where they do some PCR tests. I want to see how much they're amplifying these tests. Hey there. How much are you guys amplifying these tests, these PCR tests? What's the amplification of these PCR tests? I think the citizens should know. How much are you guys amplifying your tests? How much are you guys amplifying your tests here? What tests are you guys using? What tests? I don't need to have an appointment. I'm a citizen. I'm a concerned citizen. I'm allowed to ask questions. This is why we have a constitution and we have a freedom of speech. We have First Amendment rights. First Amendment rights are protected.
Yeah, you have First Amendment right protection from the government, but see, you're on private property and your First Amendment rights ended the moment you left that public sidewalk and entered into their private business. So scoot your ass back onto that public sidewalk and you can scream and film all you want.
Oh, look here's the Gestapo cop that he should be a mall cop right here. Yeah. Here's a mall cop wearing his hijab because he loves tyranny. He loves being part of tyranny. I'm on the sidewalk now, so you can get off of me. Keep your 6 feet distance. Keep your 6 feet distance, yeah.
Take your meds, people.
Oh,
Stay home.
You're the one taking the meds. You're the one taking the meds. We don't believe in big pharma. We actually believe in health. As you can see, that belly, he's a fat fuck. And me, this is called health. I've been on the cover of Miss Fitness magazine.
How you gonna say that you're healthy and he's fat as fuck when you sound like you smoke a carton of cigarettes a day and you look like one big skin cancer tumor?
This guy wouldn't know health oh, look at how he gets it close to me. Is he allowed to do that? Is he allowed to intimidate? Where's his 6 feet difference? There's no 6 feet distance here. Where's the 6 feet? So you're allowed to break the law. You're allowed to break the mandates. Oh, because you're above the law, right? Is that why? Yes, he should be a mall cop. Yeah, you're a mall cop. You're allowed to break.
Have a good day.
No, you don't tell me.
Have a good day.
No, you're getting in my face. Where's my 6 feet? 6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. Yeah. Get out of my 6 feet bubble. 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 This is what's happening to our children. They're not getting proper education. They're being masked up, which is just child abuse. Children need to see faces when they're developing. They need to smile at each other. They don't need to be living in fear when they have more of a risk of getting in a car and dying in a car accident than from COVID.
Only one problem, Karen. Who's gonna raise the baby when that little bundle of infection gets mommy and daddy sick and they die? Keep in mind that as of today, over 61,000 Americans have died from COVID that are in the parenting age range of 18 to 49.
We've got studies from all around the world that prove that if you do not have symptoms, you cannot spread disease. So why are we still doing this? Why are you part of the lie? Do you guys want to be a part of the lie? Yes? Oh, this guy's nodding, yeah. Well, this is what you guys want to call people like me cultist. Do you guys know even what cults are about? They're about dogmas that have no factual background for it. So you're following a dogma of fear and dividing people.
Yeah, sure, Karen. The testing center is the one that's being dogmatic and trying to spread fear, and not the Neanderthal that's screaming at a building through a bullhorn claiming that asymptomatic carriers can't spread diseases. I guess you've just never heard of the most famous example of an aggressively active and asymptomatic vector, Typhoid Mary, who infected at least 53 people, of which at least 3 people died from typhoid fever.
You're being a part of that satanic religion. And you guys are the ones suffocating yourself. That's called sadomasochism, if you don't know what suffocating someone is. That's sadomasochism.
No, it's not sadomasochism, because that's not the definition of sadism or masochism. Sadism and masochism are two sides of the same leaf, where sadism is getting pleasure from inflicting pain on another person, and masochism is when one gets pleasure from one's own pain. So asking someone to wear a mask to help curb the spread of a deadly contagion is neither sadistic, masochistic, nor is it sadomasochistic.
So you're suffocating yourself, you're destroying your immune system. You want to know why you're getting sick? Because you're poisoning yourself. That's what cults do. They wear masks, they poison themselves, and then you're going to wind up at the hospital. They're going to inject you with remdesivir that didn't even pass the Ebola trials because it killed half of the participants in the Ebola trials.
Wrong again, dipshit. The study she's citing is from 2019, where 4 drugs were tested on patients who had already contracted the Ebola virus. The remdesivir and ZMapp patients experienced about a 50% rate of death, so they pulled those drugs from the trials. The problem is, the case fatality rate for untreated Ebola is 50%. So it wasn't remdesivir that killed those patients, it was fucking Ebola, Karen.
Then they're going to put you on a respirator. So they put you into induced coma. What do you think happens when you're put in induced coma? And all of these hospitals are incentivized to kill people.
And you're wrong again. But let's listen to the big brain logic behind this one.
How do I know that? Because my friend Dr. Simone Gold treated COVID patients. She treated them with HCQ. HCQ stands for hydroxychloroquine and zinc. And guess what? She was sending them home. They were not sick after a few days of treatment. They were sent home.
Do you, watching at home, see the fault in her logic yet? She claims that she knows that hospitals are being incentivized to claim that patient deaths are COVID related because some random doctor that she's never met before but claims is her friend treats her patients with HCQ and sends them home. Now that's what we like to call some nonsensical, non sequitur bullshit. Now as far as this claim goes, I've addressed it before. While there are some explanations as to why this claim could have some merit, there's no actual evidence that hospitals are receiving a stipend for reporting deaths as COVID related.
And what happened to her? Kaiser and an American Indian hospital fired her for saving the lives of her patients. The CDC protocols is what's killing people. It's not COVID. We've always had the early treatment, and that's why Lancet and the New England Journal of Medicine had to retract their papers about HCQ and ivermectin.
If you weren't already convinced that we're dealing with one of the dumbest people on earth, she's about to change your mind. Now, we're not going to really talk about the New England Journal of Medicine study that was pulled because it really plays no role in anything she just said. The one study I want to focus on is the one that was pulled from the Lancet Journal, which was a study that claimed that using HCQ as a treatment caused significant harm without helping any of the patients with COVID-19. That one study single-handedly shut down worldwide studies for HCQ that were ongoing. The problem is, the data was false. So this Karen is actually bitching about a study that was retracted when the retraction of that study actually helps her case. This is what a dogmatic belief system looks like at its most fundamental level.
This is known all over the world, but you guys are watching the big pharma-funded corporate media that makes money off of your sickness. So why don't you follow the real science, the real experts? Look up Robert Malone. He was the inventor of mRNA technology. He's against the shots. This is the inventor, folks. This is the one that was deplatformed on Twitter. The same day I was taken off Twitter, he was taken off. We're literally on Schindler's List.
Oh, Karen, please don't get a big head and think you're as important as Dr. Malone or Dr. Simone Gold. And Dr. Malone was no more the inventor of mRNA technology than Nikola Tesla is the inventor of electrons. Dr. Malone was kicked off of Twitter, which I personally completely disagree with, because Dr. Malone absolutely realizes the value in misinformation. And while there have already been many doctors and scientists that have come out and debunked his claims, I'm going to give you one that you don't even need to be a doctor to debunk. Recently, a Canadian research firm called the Ottawa Heart Institute published a preprint study that claimed that myocarditis was a side effect of the COVID-19 vaccine in about 1 in 1,000 patients. Now that number was much higher than all other research firms were seeing, and when the other research firms looked at their data, they realized that they had used the incorrect data for the number of vaccines that had been administered. The Ottawa Heart Institute then went back and redid the math and found that it was more like 1 in 30,000 patients. But the damage had already been done, as screenshots of the preprint had already been taken, and Dr. Malone, who knows those numbers are wrong, continues to push them as fact.
So this is what's going on. And you want to follow real scientists? How about the ex-vice president of Pfizer, scientist, saying that he believes these shots is population control? He believes these shots are population control. And you want to be a part of this? This fraud? This is mass murder, folks.
Karen, you're just repeating what the other crayon munchers say. But you're not the one being dogmatic though, right? The ex-CEO of Pfizer, Dr. Yeadon, is an anti-vaxxer that's trying to push the whole Bill Gates is trying to kill everybody narrative, when that was taken completely out of context. What Bill Gates was actually saying was that he hopes his contributions to science help curb future population growth to a more manageable number given our current state of natural resources.
VAERS vaccine adverse events reporting system has already reported over 23,000 deaths, has already reported over 1 million adverse events. And these aren't just like coughs or a fever. This is Guillain-Barré, blood clots, myocarditis, and many others.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. The VAERS database is completely anecdotal and unconfirmed. Literally anyone can report any side effect to any vaccine and it will be counted whether it happened or not.
You want to be a part of this? You want to be a part of the fraud? You have a choice right now. You have a choice to be on the right side of history or the wrong side. You want to be on the right side? You need to quit working at this station. Quit being a part of the problem. And be part of the solution. And stand up for what is right. I've risked my career. I've risked my life to speak with you about freedom. What are you going to do? What part of history are you going to be on? Right side or genocide? It's up to you. So look up these people. Dr. Yeadon, Dr. Robert Malone, Dr. Simone Gold. There's 2 doctors here, Tyson, and I think it's his partner. They've treated 10,000 patients with early treatment and had 100% success rate. 100% means not a single person died.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's bullshit. Let's break this down. In Dr. Brian Tyson's own book, The Miracle of the Imperial Valley, Dr. Tyson claims that by the end of March and beginning of April 2020, they were seeing about 200 to 400 patients a day. But let's not focus on the ridiculousness of just 2 doctors diagnosing and treating between 100 and 200 COVID patients apiece per day. No, let's focus on the claim that 0 people died under his care and treatment. In his book, he states that by September 2020, he had seen 1,900 patients and 0 had died. Which is only true when you don't count the at least 2 patients that experienced respiratory failure under his care but died at the hospital. I mean, it wasn't his fault that they waited to the hospital to die, and those numbers shouldn't be counted against him. And then, about a year later, he claimed that he had seen 6,000 patients, and 4 had died, but they only died because they arrived too late in their diagnosis to do the pre-treatment. So of course, Those numbers shouldn't count against him either. So while he claims that 0 patients have died, we're going to go ahead and include the at least 6 deaths out of 6,000 patients he treated, giving him a mortality rate of about 0.1%, which happens to be the same mortality rate of COVID if you leave it untreated. So essentially seeing Dr. Tyson is the same thing as doing nothing and eating a bunch of anti-malaria pills.
They brought that to the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH, and guess what? We're completely ignored. Why? Because HCQ and ivermectin are only 2 cents. They didn't make any money. They're off-label. Off-label means you don't make money because all of the pharmaceutical industries can make that. It's the ones that have patents that make a lot of money, like remdesivir, like $3,000 for treatment. Follow the money, you'll follow the corruption, folks. What we're seeing now is mass murder. Telling people, being fearful of this virus, pushing them to take these inoculations that are not vaccines. They don't stop transmission, they don't promote herd immunity, and they had to change the definition of what a vaccine was just recently.
This is true. The CDC did recently change the definition of a vaccine because jackasses like Karen have decided that their crusade is being partially based on a nondescript definition of what a vaccine is and does. The new definition is more descriptive and more technically correct.
That is not a vaccine. That is a treatment. And that treatment is deadly. People are dying. Children are dying. Children are not dying from COVID. They're dying from the treatment. In Sweden, they never locked down. They never closed their schools. They never masked their children at schools, and not a single child died in Sweden. That is a fact. That is a fact. I believe in facts, not fiction.
Well, Karen, your facts are fictitious. Because to date, in Sweden, there have been at least 16 confirmed deaths of people ages 19 or younger, with 11 of those deaths coming from people ages 9 or younger. So what you're saying is a lie.
So you want to be in this satanic cult religion that lies to you, that is putting your health in danger by doing these very, very toxic tests, by the way. They're chemicals that you're breathing in. And then you think that that stuff is going to stop a virus, those little masks and those little shields. What do virologists wear in labs when they're dealing with dangerous viruses? Certainly not a fabric over their face and a shield. They have to have an air seal tight. It looks like a spacesuit with oxygen added. They can't even have a pen hole in it because the virus is so small, it's from 0.1 to 0.3 micron.
You've been watching too much Outbreak, Karen. Every virus has different characteristics, and the amount of personal protective equipment needed to work on a virus will differ per lab and contagion being studied.
Stop the insanity. Stop being part of the problem. Be part of the solution and stop working for these Luciferians, really. They're Luciferians. This is a lie. Hopefully they'll stop this insanity. Those are all facts. Let's see if they'll look these people up, you know?
Yeah, okay, Karen. Those people are gonna look up everyone you just named because some weirdo was standing on the sidewalk screaming at them through a bullhorn. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. Be sure to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of my content. I'm Team Skeptic, and I'm out.